Hey, listen, it's on. The interview that everybody's wanted to see is going to be happening, and it's happening today. We're about to go to Sky to see Gary Neville to find out what his opinions are about ArsenalFanTV. Was he right to say what he said? Find out what he thinks about Arsene Wenger. I mean, I was just reading that 888 Sport claimed that Arsene Wenger will still be in his job come next season. They're even giving 2 to 5 on it. Will that be the case? We're going to find out. We're going to interview Gary Neville right now. ArsenalFanTV, it's on, it's happening. We've got Gary Neville here. And first of all, I've got to say, thanks for, hosting us. Thanks for agreeing to this, because I didn't think you'd agree to it initially when it was all sort of blown up. But thanks for hosting us. And what I've done, I've brought along with us 4 fans that feature regularly on ArsenalFanTV. Troopz, Moh, Claude, and DT. And don't look scared. right, but they're also going to ask you some questions. But the first thing I wanted to say, though, is that how it all sort of blew up was, I must admit, I did take exception to your tweet when you, to what you said on Sky, because first of all, when you said that ArsenalFanTV thing, I was like, well, it's a bit like you're kind of looking down on us in a way. And we do go every game, home and away. And yes, you would have seen it. You would have come out and you would have seen maybe the commotion and that following the Chelsea game, and you would have seen some fans very upset. But then if you'd have watched our content the week before when we beat Southampton and we beat them 5-0, fans were really happy as well. So I think you need to take it in the context of that. That's the sort of the first thing. And then also, we've had this a lot with sort of the general media. And as I said, I really respect what you do. I think you're a brilliant pundit. You was a great player for Manchester United, although I don't like to say that too much. But we do sort of feel sometimes that we're sort of looked down a bit on, the sort of things that we do in social media and that. And it's a very important part now of football, and it has changed a lot with with social media coming around. So those are my 2 points I wanted to put to you first.
Do you want me to answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the word, actually, things probably, the word thing is probably more, I'm probably more regretful over that than anything else, because to be honest with you, in terms of the actual, what I saw after the Chelsea game, was loads of stewards, hundreds of Chelsea fans, some guy in the middle of it with an Arsenal scarf on, abusing Arsene Wenger, a massive commotion. It's provocative, to be honest with you, and from my point of view, I didn't particularly like it. But to be honest, when you talk about different types of media, I don't like lots of types of media. It wasn't particularly. I just came out of Stamford Bridge having commentated on the game, saw that, and look, of course there can be criticism of teams, of players. I think all's fair in love and war. You can say exactly what you want about anybody, but it doesn't mean to say that I have to agree with it or like it or think it's the right form of media. And from my point of view, watching what I saw outside Stamford Bridge, where stewards were having to move you on, the police were coming over at one point, it was a bit of a mess, and it looked embarrassing for Arsenal. At the end of the day...
But that actual guy, we weren't... That wasn't us filming that actual guy. That was a person that you said you saw. But, we're very responsible with what we do. So we wasn't...
Was that not you then outside on the forecourt after the game?
So we came out, and normally what we do is we would film straight away at the end of the game. But because, obviously Chelsea fans were overjoyed, they were jumping around. Even when they saw me, they were all around me, giving me a lot of stick, not in a bad way, right? So
it wasn't violent. It wasn't violent.
Yeah. So what we did on that day is we decided that we won't film until most of their fans have sort of dispersed. Then we started filming. So I think you might have got a wrong impression of that. Also, there was also a Chelsea channel filming there as well. They do a similar thing, 100% Chelsea, and they
a red scarf.
Well, that was a red scarf, but that wasn't us actually filming. That was just probably a fan there. So, I think you might have sort of misinterpreted that a bit. But, we filmed loads of fans on the day. And, I think with what we do, we try to reflect the mood of whatever has happened. And I know what you said about Arsene Wenger. And, listen, well, I'm not particularly person. There's a couple of guys here that they're not Arsene Wenger's greatest fans, but I'm not particularly against Arsene Wenger. But on the day, with the result, the mood, I think that, you know, that's all we was reflecting. Fans were very unhappy.
I don't think there's any point. I mean, there's any problem with. I mean, I was disappointed with Arsenal's performance on the day. I was critical of them during the game. I don't think there's any problem with any level of criticism. It's how you do it. Does Arsene Wenger, after 20 years service at the club, deserve a little bit more respect than certain types of things that have happened? Yes or no? Some people say no, he deserves everything he gets. Other people, including myself, would say, hang on a minute, if it was Payet, say for instance, from West Ham, who's just handed a transfer request in and let the club down, you could say, I can understand why fans would go full on. But if it was John Terry at Chelsea, who's given 20 years, who might not be in the team anymore, not playing as well, does he deserve banners? Does he deserve abuse? No. You know, yeah, he might not be the same player. And the same with managers. I think that he's a unique one with Arsene Wenger. What he's achieved at the club, greatest ever manager for Arsenal. His performance levels and consistency for 20 years have been unbelievable. And you'd have to say that I do go along the line of be careful what you wish for. Not in the sense that change isn't good sometimes, because it can be, but Arsenal's spending has been less than all the other clubs. In the last 10 years, I think it's been less than Tottenham, less than Liverpool, City, United, Chelsea. So if you spend less than the other clubs, you're more than likely, I know Leicester are the exception that you'll all point towards, but you're more than likely going to finish lower than those clubs, because the reality of it is players are players, and it's not always the same. To continue to finish second, third, fourth over that period while still spending lower than those clubs is an unbelievable achievement. I have big frustrations with the profile of the player that sometimes Arsenal sign. So the fact that they do sign a lot of diminutive players who are quite good on the ball, but not that powerful force in midfield, that strength. I get frustrated with that enormously, that this continuing big games, particularly away from home, to disappoint. I'm frustrated. But would I
So you can understand why fans would be frustrated as well. But frustrated to the point when they've invested their time, their money, you know, to follow the club. Some of these fans every single week go into every single game, and it's, you know, and every single year in, year out, they go to a ground like Chelsea and they see the same sort of performance, the same sort of result. You've got to understand if they're going to be very frustrated at that.
Absolutely, but on that point, where have I said, and I called a fan an idiot who had a banner up and was abusing Arsene Wenger, but where have I ever said that a fan can't say what he wants about a team? But I can still think they're an idiot if they say it. There's two different things. One is saying what you want to do, throwing banners out at a game. There are lots of good banners, protests against owners, protests against chairmen, protests against players. No problem. No one's saying you can't bring a banner into the ground. But imagine going into your office the day before to print off a banner against a guy who's been the most successful manager of all time, who has achieved so much at the club. Does he deserve that? I don't think he does. Does he deserve abuse? I don't think he does. And I think really it's a lack of, it's respect really. He's just a guy. He's a giant of the game. If he retired tomorrow, or if something happened to him, there'd probably be millions of people lining the streets for Arsene Wenger with what he's achieved. And if you look at the other clubs actually, who he's currently below him in the league, they've spent more money, and they don't get the same level of abuse. So I think banners. Yeah, you can put banners into stadiums against owners, chairmen, players. However, the idea that you put it against a guy who served the club for 20 years.
On the banners thing, right? I've got a fan here.
He's the king of banners.
Right, so I'm gonna hand the mic to DT, because DT quite famously did bring quite a big banner into a 12-foot banner into the ground to protest against Arsene Wenger. Not something that I agree with, but it's his opinion, and I'll make him explain to you why.
Why do you not protest against the board? So just one question. I'm going to ask you this question, right? Why do you not protest against the board, who have in their jurisdiction and their control to do what Arsene Wenger does? Why do you protest against the manager? He's done his best, hasn't
he? Yeah. Can I just say, I have protested against the board as well. I also pulled out a banner which said "Love Arsenal, Hate Kroenke," based on his acceptance to accept just top four. Us as fans have had enough of that now. We believe we've gone past the period of moving into the stadium and where we accepted that Arsene Wenger was doing a great job in that initial period. To do what he did was amazing, but we've come to that point now where we can spend the money. We've got top draw, world-class players in certain positions. but yet we're failing year in, year out, and there's no difference to our team in terms of failure when we had Shamak up front or Alexis Sanchez up front. The same problems and the same failings are rearing their head at the same points of the season every single year. I go to every single game, and I said this on ArsenalFanTV when we beat Hull. Since Arsenal last won the title, I've spent about £70,000 following Arsenal. That's a week's wages to Matt Debuchy. And you wonder why fans are getting frustrated. I took exception to you calling the fan an idiot because I raised the banner. The reason why I raised the banner was because nobody listens to us. We've tried going to the board, we've tried going to the club, and what we get in response are generic letters. Thank you for your continued support. We're doing everything we can. The same old rubbish. You don't get any real answers from the club. So we felt the only way we could get an answer and the way we could express our opinion is by raising a banner. People don't agree with it. That's absolutely fine. As we said, this is about opinion. Yeah.
A lot of young fans don't agree with it, do they?
No, fans don't. A lot of fans don't, and a lot of fans do. It's very much split down the middle in terms. No one will know an exact figure. But like I said, that is how we had to get our opinions across because the clubs don't listen to us anymore. Back in the day, Arsenal fans had a problem with Terry Neal when he was manager. And they called a meeting with the club, and the club organised a meeting with a group of fans at Islington Town Hall. And my dad was one of those fans. Now, people might say it runs in the blood. He's passed it down. But what you had then was fans and owners that were on the same page, and they could relate to each other and they could talk to each other if there was a problem. Within 2 weeks, Terry Neal was sacked. The problem we have now is that as fans, if we have a problem, nobody listens to us. We're treated as customers rather than fans. People say to me, stop going. I can't do it. I've been going since 1986, 31st year I've been going to watch Arsenal. It runs through a history of my family. It's not easy to just stop. I put my life, my soul, everything into Arsenal Football Club. And I felt the only way that I could get my views across about the manager was by raising a banner. I wasn't disrespectful. There are people that do cross a line, and I do not agree with that at all. But I felt that my banner was respectful. The banner we raised was the Arsen, thanks for the memories, but it's time to say goodbye. I don't see there's any disrespect in that message whatsoever. And that banner has been out since 2011. And when it was first brought out at Brighton, fans were attacked, assaulted, spat at. Then it was brought out at West Brom when we won 1-0.
By your own fans, you mean?
By our own fans, yes. And then as it's gone on, fans have started to get more on board and starting to say, you know what, maybe they've got a point because it is year after year after year. But we still get verbal abuse. I've had my son nearly assaulted at Man City away last year because we were trying to pull out the banner. We don't have any exceptions to people that are pro-Wenger. There's a banner inside the Emirates that says, in Arsenal we trust. To me, that's offensive to me because I don't agree with it. But that's that fan's opinion, and they've got a right to voice that opinion. And that's why I took exception to you calling the fan an idiot. I've got no problem with you having an opinion. Absolutely fine. I just felt that you went from having an opinion to being abusive to someone without knowing their true story.
Idiot where I come from is not abusive.
Like I said, you could have said you don't agree with the guy. You don't agree.
No, I didn't agree with the guy.
Yeah,
and to be honest, look, you've made a very considered, articulate statement about a problem in football that's wider than, to be fair, just Arsene Wenger or Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah.
In terms of fans' communication paths with clubs, how they are listened to, how it's interpreted, all that sort. That is a point I'm not going to disagree with. And to be honest with you, I never said that fan didn't have a right to bring that banner into the stadium. Never once. No. I never said the fan didn't have a right to shout what he wanted to shout. However, I have a right also, for my opinion, that, of course, you might have an opinion that Arsene Wenger should no longer be the manager of Arsenal Football Club, and I'm not going to disagree. You know more about Arsenal Football Club than I do. However, to see a guy standing up at the end of a match with it still going on, with a banner up, shouting abuse at a guy who's given 20 years service, who's the greatest manager in Arsenal's history, I find that very difficult. I'm sorry, I really find it difficult from a professional point of view. That I think that's the right thing to do. Do I think that...
What if the message ain't getting across though? I mean, listen, I don't agree with it either, but
Look,
you know, I respect that fans. What if, like what DT's saying, that they're so frustrated because they never get the message across?
What I would say is that you feel as though your message isn't getting across. In terms of, obviously, the ultimate message would be that obviously he was removed. However, be clear. The coach, the manager, the board will be fully aware of everything that you're saying on social media, everything you're saying on this channel, and they'll be aware of the fans' discontent through booing, through the fact that before half-time, when you're not winning or you're losing at home to a team that you think you should be beating, and there's that, they can see the empty seats, which I saw behind, you know, there's some empty seats there on Saturday in the game. That's where you see discontent. So they will be fully aware of your voices. However, they will just disagree with the fact that they've got a lower budget than, you know, City have spent $1 billion, United have spent 750, Chelsea have spent near 750. I think Tottenham have spent 560, even though the net spends less. Liverpool have spent a lot more than Arsenal. They'll be looking at that, and they'll be looking at that and thinking, we're getting a really good level of performance and consistency from our manager with the budget that we're giving him. We can never compete with City and Chelsea on those budgets. They've spent double what you've spent. So my view would be they might be listening to you and thinking, we disagree. Have you thought that? They might agree with the other 50% of Arsenal fans.
That's maybe where they should communicate that better as well, the club.
But they're communicating through the fact that they give him new contracts, that they say Arsenal's our manager, that they support him, but also, do you know something? The traditions of Arsenal Football Club, and I'm not patronising you here now, there are only a couple of clubs in this country that I would say can compete in terms of traditions, histories. Manchester United are an unbelievable club in terms of tradition and history. Arsenal are an incredible club in terms of tradition and history, particularly when they're at Highbury. You used to go there and you could smell it. And even now when you go to Arsenal, you see the ground. It's probably the best ground in the league in terms of its overall facilities. When you feel as though that club, and look, you've got to remember, I disagreed with the David Moyes banner that was put, and you can see my Twitter account around that time. I disagreed with Manchester United fans booing Marouane Fellaini 3 weeks ago on television when they booed him when he came on against Liverpool. This is not just against Arsenal fans. I have beliefs that as a fan you can say whatever you want. It doesn't mean to say that as a fellow fan that I think it's the right thing to do.
Okay, I'm going to get Mo to ask you a question as we try and move it on.
All right. Gary, just a couple of things. The first thing you mentioned earlier on whilst we were talking that you didn't agree with the fan and you called him an idiot because he had an anti-Arsene Wenger banner up and also he was abusive. Now, I was watching, unfortunately, the game on TV, so I heard your commentary and I saw what he had up. Now, to me, there was a banner up, but there was nothing abusive on the banner.
And no, he was shouting as well.
Gary, I mean, with all due respect, unless you're a lip reader, I don't think you could categorically say what that fan was shouting.
Those veins coming out of his neck.
But Gary,
it wasn't nice.
Gary, I can assure you when Alexis Sanchez scores a last-minute Panenka winner, there's veins coming out of my neck, and I'm not abusing him. So I just call you up on that because I think it's unfair on that fan to say that he was abusing Arsene Wenger. He may well have been very politely putting up a banner to, put forward his opinion without abusing him. So
I think that fan, he's 25 years of age. I've seen his story since. In 20, 30 years' time, when he looks back, I think he might change his mind about his actions on that day. Is my view.
Potentially, but I just to back him up, as a fan, I like to stick together with other Arsenal fans. So I'm going to back him up and say I don't think it's fair to claim that he was being abusive, but he was holding a banner up. Yeah, and now what I'd like to say to you is that, as I said, I heard your commentary and you called him an idiot. And whilst I appreciate that on live TV, it must be really difficult to use perfect wording on absolutely all occasions.
Anytime.
But no, honestly, I think all Arsenal fans watching this, or all fans watching this, should actually cut you a little bit of slack on that and say that we don't know what that feels like.
No, I knew what I was doing. I knew the word I was using. I'm not going to back out and say, "Oh, I'm
sorry,
no,
not at all, not at all." But and then also subsequently, you were on Sky again, and you said you stand by that.
Yeah,
label of calling him an idiot. Yeah, okay. And then in addition to that, you tweeted ArsenalFanTV. You referred to them as embarrassing, and
I said it live on air, didn't I?
Yeah.
Live
on everything.
Yeah, you said ArsenalFanTV. Or it was embarrassing. Not that the channel.
It was embarrassing what I saw outside the game.
Yes,
it was embarrassing.
Agreed. But I'm sure you can appreciate there was a bit of. It wasn't quite hard nailed down what you were calling embarrassing, so there was room for misinterpretation. But we can clarify that today.
I was quite clear. I said I came out the ground at Stamford Bridge yesterday, and I saw that Arsenal TV thing, which you shouldn't have said. And it was embarrassing. It was. I mean,
fine. Okay. Yeah. And then in addition to that, you then tweeted ArsenalFanTV and used a clown emoji. Now, for me, when you're talking about, interestingly, DT's banner, I spoke to DT, he's a good friend of mine, and I said to him, I think that banner was disrespectful. And the reason I thought it was disrespectful is because it was condescending, it was patronising. The message says, thanks for the memories, but it's time to say goodbye. Are you really going to talk to Arsene Wenger and say, thanks for the memories, but it's time to say goodbye? I think that is incredibly patronising. And I also think, and I'm showing my consistency here when I told a fellow Arsenal fan that no, that's out of order and it's disrespectful. And I'm also saying to you that I think when you're tweeting ArsenalFanTV with a clown emoji, I think that's extremely condescending and extremely disrespectful. And to call a single, and bear this in mind here, a single fan on national TV in front of an audience of millions an idiot for voicing his opinion, however much you agree with it or disagree with it, and to put him in that spotlight and give him that heat, I personally think, again, is unfair of you to do that. And I just wanted to clarify now, those three things. The first thing, calling a fan an idiot on national TV, national live TV, then saying ArsenalFanTV or the whole thing around it is embarrassing, and tweeting a clown emoji to ArsenalFanTV. Do you still stand by all of these things, or has there been any time for reflection and maybe a change?
You've done a presentation course, haven't you? He's made his point, he's made it again, he's made it again. Congratulations. No, Justin, what I would say is that, I'll be absolutely clear, there are very few things that I've said on television that I regret over a period of 5 years. One of the reasons that I think people have maybe enjoyed or maybe have not enjoyed of me for the last 5 years is that I come on there and I use my own language that I would use growing up as a fan, would use growing up as a kid. I don't throw out what would be cliches or nice words. Sometimes I think when a word comes out of my mouth, come back. But my view is that having been in football professionally for 20 years, having been a fan, having been a part owner of a club, I understand the challenges that exist for everybody, and the fan, to be honest with you, is getting dumped upon from a large height in terms of, nowadays, affordability of football, access, different things that are very difficult. However, I will always speak my mind, I will always say what I believe, and I don't pay too much relevance to it. If I throw out a clown emoji and then say I'm going to beat myself up about it for the next 10 years, or actually if I can walk out of the ground and see what is to be fair, pretty provocative thing going on, I think it's embarrassing really. I mean, it was embarrassing what I saw. The idiot, look, I'd be interested to know what that fan will think in 20 odd years time. I know a lot of people have found it difficult to accept the word idiot, but you know something, when I was a kid, oh, you idiot. The idea that you're paying more attention to it than actually it was worth. I didn't call every Arsenal fan an idiot, every fan in the country say that basically you couldn't have an opinion. But I find it very difficult against a man who I've been critical of myself from a football point of view, from a tactical point of view.
At times.
No, and that's fine, it's my job. But the idea of, does he deserve abuse? Does he deserve banners against him? You just said yourself you thought the banner that he put was disrespectful. I think that he deserves better than that. I really do think he deserves better than that. Do I regret it? No, because the reality of it is I'm quite relaxed about the fact that I say on TV what I think, and the fact that I don't use what would be normal words. I could have said, oh, that Arsenal fan there, I think he's out of order, or I disagree with his opinion, but everyone would have just thought that's boring, Gary, with respect.
I wouldn't have thought that.
No, you might have thought it was considered and actually very. Yeah. That's not what I'm on television for. To be honest, I'm on television to give you what would be my genuine opinion and what I feel.
Okay, Claude, it's got a question for you.
But well put. I'm not just. Yeah.
Thank you for answering.
Gary, do you agree with the concept of fan TV?
Yes.
You say it's embarrassing, but you agree with it, yeah?
No. What I saw outside Stamford Bridge, which is what I meant, I thought was embarrassing. Now, I've not watched every single episode. Some of the TV that I produce, you'll think is embarrassing. Some of the TV I've produced, I'll think is embarrassing. But that doesn't mean to say I disagree with the whole concept of TV.
Now, also, can I ask you something else? Yeah. You've been very critical throughout the season of Wenger's team selections.
I don't think team selection, maybe once, maybe no, I don't think team selections, maybe performance. Yeah. I'm very rarely critical of team selection, very rarely.
So what difference is it when the fans who have put up with it for years are suddenly criticising. What's the difference between us and what you're saying?
No, there's no one saying that you can't be critical. I mean, at the end of the day, no. This is my point. When you make one comment against one fan, it's been transmitted into. No fan can ever have a comment. No fan can be critical, but I can be. That wasn't what it was. It was an opinion on the day of what I thought of one fan who held up a banner. It wasn't the fact that every fan's opinion. I had to share a lot of the frustrations, and you've heard my frustrations.
Yeah, but Gary, what I'm saying is we're not seeing we're not seeing progress with Arsenal. We're seeing a man that has gone, for me, past his sell-by date.
But do you know what you are seeing?
Yeah, but what I'm saying, and you keep saying, be careful what you wish for. But were Chelsea saying that when they lost their most successful manager last year and replaced him with Conte, and now they're 10 points clear?
Look, do I think Arsenal are Chelsea? No. No, they're not. They're a completely different football club and a completely different model. What Arsenal have got, and still to this day, and please you should never ever underestimate the power of this, because we've lost it at United a little bit in the last few years. Stability, support, loyalty, being a club that gives managers opportunities beyond 12 months, sticks by people, thinks for the long term. All those qualities that I loved Manchester United for, I still love Manchester United. But when they sacked David Moyes after 8 months, or when they let Louis van Gaal go, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're the wrong decisions, but I love the fact that I could hold on to, as a traditional football person, the loyalty, the stability, the fact that you have a club that's traditional. I actually respect Arsenal for that. Don't think, hold on to those things. Don't wish it away.
Do you respect ArsenalFanTV though? That's the thing. That's also the thing that while we're here, because do you respect what we're doing as fans? Because you said you only saw that game.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I'm trying to say. We're at every game,
Absolutely.
every friendlies we're at.
Absolutely,
interviewing fans.
Absolutely respect all fan TVs. But however, what I saw outside Stamford Bridge, you said it might not even be yourselves.
It wasn't us.
Are you sure?
What you've described, that wasn't us, because we didn't.
A guy with a cap on shouting abuse for the Reds, basically.
Not every Arsenal fan is part of ArsenalFanTV. We interview fans, but we weren't filming him.
If it wasn't you, I apologise.
Was we filming him?
Oh, there was filming.
So we was filming this particular.
There were Chelsea fans all around singing about Arsene Wenger. There was Arsenal fan abusing the guy. There was a guy with red scarves on. It might not have been you guys. All I know is what I saw. There were stewards moving you all away because it was getting quite.
No, it wasn't us, because where we filmed was right away from that spot.
You must have a double.
I don't know who that double is, but anyway, listen. I'm gonna lastly move it to Troopz, right? Because Troopz, a very vocal fan on ArsenalFanTV. Maybe. Did you have a red scarf on that day? I don't think it was him, but...
Did you have a red scarf on?
I always got a red scarf.
It was him! I'm telling you, it was a cap and a red scarf. And was you shouting at Arsene Wenger?
No. What colour was the hat?
He's normally having a go.
I think it was a black one, I think.
He had a red hat.
I don't know.
But anyway, listen. Troopz have got a question for you. Troopz is a very vocal fan. Who does get quite animated after games. Troopz, your question.
Basically, my question, Gary, is you just said that when you're on TV, you talk how you talk, like you say words as you grew up. Me personally, that's how I talk as well, innit? And I get a lot of stick because of the way I talk. You know what I mean? With me, the only thing that got me irritated with you was you calling ArsenalFanTV embarrassing. My thing is that the whole media in general, because I've got a lot of stick from Jason Cundy this week, saying that people who say blood and family are not entitled to an opinion. So for me, it's a bit snobbish, because it comes to me like, because you lot are getting paid for your opinion, my opinion is not valued, and because I'm not media trained like you lot, that we're just gonna push it under the carpet kind of thing. And I think that's disrespectful, because every fan is entitled to their opinion, no matter what background you're from, where you're from. It don't matter. When Cara, your colleague, came on to Sky Sports and Monday Night Football, he was getting a lot of stick because of his accent. He's a Liverpudlian, how are you going to listen to him? And you even banter him. I saw your tweet yesterday. You need subtitles. You know what I mean?
It was a good tweet.
It was a good tweet, though, you understand? Because I understand where that's coming from, you get me? But my thing is that, why is it that a lot of the pundits look down at the fans, especially fans like me? Because I'm representing a lot of people that can't come to games. People that are from a different environment. I wasn't born in Essex or Hertfordshire, or I don't have a Mancunian accent like you. I wasn't born in Scotland.
Neither
So
was
I'm
I.
gonna talk like a Londoner. No, but I get a lot of stick for the way I talk. And if you watch my interviews, if you take out all the slang, I talk pure sense. It's pure sense I'm talking. It's pure sense I'm talking.
Well done.
You know what I mean? But basically what it comes down to is, why is it that the media and the pundits believe that their opinion is more valued than us?
I don't think they do.
Oh, they do.
They do.
They do,
No,
Gary.
it's,
They do,
I
Gary.
don't think they do.
Gary, we are ridiculed. A lot of the traditional media, and this is our opinion, which can't be argued with, because we're not stating anything as a fact. It's our opinion. We all feel collectively that it's almost thought of this as we don't have a sphere to belong in terms of the punditry side of football.
Can I just say there's
and
something
we
to you?
all feel
Yeah, I understand
undervalued in that respect.
the biggest criticism that I've seen of your TV station this week has been from probably other Arsenal fans towards you that don't agree with your station. So I don't think it's an actual. I don't think it's the mainstream media or pundits are against you.
No.
I think what you're fighting for is credibility in terms of your messaging. But that's from your own fans as well.
No,
It's
but
not from-
hold
that's,
on,
that's
Gary.
me.
Not
Some
every-
people,
not
some
every-
people don't like Monday Night Football, some people don't like Soccer AM, some people don't like Soccer Saturday, some people don't like Match of the Day. There are all different types of things that people don't like. What we're all searching for is for people to watch our programmes, to either agree or not agree with it, to enjoy it. Even some of your own fans don't like it, so it's not just pundits and
Well,
media.
we're never going to get every fan who's going to be happy with it.
No, but you have a lot of people,
Right,
You
know, I'd say if you look at the numbers that we get, like
yeah, but you have a lot of people support it, but a lot of people that don't. It's not just pundits and media though that think that look. I would never look down on your television station. I just thought
But Gary,
after that game,
Gary,
I have to say,
what you just said there, right? Not everybody's always going to love what we do. But we do get 10 to 12 million views every month on YouTube alone. So that shows you, and that's win or lose. It's not just fans, because another thing you were saying is, these fans came on to laugh at us, right? And listen, that's football banter. I mean, that's, if you lose a game, fans are going to jump on
you
that.
should see the stick that I get after commentary because people.
Then you should understand how we feel.
I do, but that doesn't mean to say that we can't give it each other.
We can, but Robbie, But Gary, if I may, what we'd appreciate, especially from people like you, and especially given that you've enjoyed a very lucrative career as a player, and now a very lucrative career, I hope, as a pundit, that's due to fans. Because let's face it, we shove in collectively loads of money into the game, and that makes it a lucrative industry. And Gary, the way I feel personally...
I really resent this point. I resent this point. No, why? Because I've become a football player or a pundit, am I not a fan anymore?
No, I'm not saying that.
No, my granddad went to games, my dad went to games, I was taken to games as a 5-year-old. Why do I all of a sudden... Why am I not allowed to
You're
have
a fan, but you're...
But why am I not allowed to have opinions as a fan?
Gary,
of course, Gary,
I'm sat here now with you now. I've talked more to you like a fan than probably any pundit has.
Okay,
by
Gary,
using the language I've used.
What I'd like to say, look, I don't dispute that you're a fan. Of course you are. I'm sure you love United. But all I'm saying, as new kids on the block in the changing world with more technology and all that sort of stuff, we'd appreciate a little bit more respect from players and pundits that have enjoyed careers as a result of us. And that's what I was going to say to you. And this is the key point that I wanted to make. I personally think, my opinion is that you've done yourself a bit of a disservice, because by virtue of the fact that you've invited us here today, and on a Monday when there's a game later on, and you're taking the time out to actually talk to us, shows more of what you're about than what I think you represented on TV.
But this is my point. If I call a fan last week an idiot, I've forgotten about it 10 minutes later, and I'll speak to you again the week after. You'll probably go to a game and say, a player's this, but if you saw him 10 minutes later, you'd say, how are you, mate? You all right? You might have a go at a player during a match, but then you see him later on and you forget about it. I think we're paying too much attention to the fact that, I didn't say you shouldn't exist. I didn't say you should never have an opinion. I didn't say fans are useless. I mean, that would be despicable. I basically said, I think that fan's an idiot. It's one single word against one single fan, which doesn't become an overall, if you like, sweeping statement against the whole nation of football fans.
Well, listen, we're going to have to round it up now anyway. Gary.
Good show.
Listen, you know what, I want to say, we got to round it up.
Let me say something. Yeah,
I know you got work to do.
I don't want to go short here. I've got to go and do spinning. I've got to go and do spinning with Carragher.
What I'm just going to ask you, right? Can you admit here now on here? Can you admit now that Wayne Rooney took a dive and ended up 49 unbeaten run?
Yeah, he took a dive. We paid the referee. Everything you want to hear. That's what you want to hear.
We got it.
I'm only joking, by the way. Like, you've been wanting that for 12 years.
Listen. I want to say a big thank you. You know, you've been a great sport. You've listened to what we've had to say.
Thank you.
It's not every media pundit or people that is involved in traditional media that has hosted us. There are some who do look down upon what we do, but I think they do need to realise that there is a new type of media as well. You guys, what you do is absolutely incredible. It's fantastic, but also
Not all the time.
Well, what you do, you know, we appreciate what you do, but there's also space here now where we're here with the, you know, commenting and talking to fans week in, week out, and I think, you know, it's a great thing that maybe the traditional media should also embrace as well. So I'm glad that we were able to come here and get our point across to you.
Thank you.
You know, thanks
And you've made it
for having us.
I'll consider next time, before I call a fan an idiot, the repercussions.
Tottenham fan.
The repercussions.
Tottenham fan.
Hey, if I called a Tottenham fan an idiot, would that be okay?
Do you think?
End the show. Well done.
Thanks very much.